to today's news bulletin. I'm Zandile Mpapane, recapping stories making headlines. Sikhumbuzo Shongwe appeared today at the Manzini Magistrate Court. The Mamba clan was summoned to Nganini today following the fact that the clan is divided as to who should be the king of the clan. There is hope for the Ndlovu estate even after the demise of Mrs. Piwe Ndlovu. This was a message from the National Disaster Management Agency with the Ministry of Health, and it is funded by UNICEF. It is all about encouraging Yemaswati to adhere to COVID-19 regulations. We shall get back to our news. Sikhumbuzo Shongwe appeared today at the Manzini Magistrate Court following the fact that he is suspected to have shot his wife. A full report follows.
Pastor Sikhumbuzo Shongwe today appeared before Magistrate Pilisi West Milanim, where he was remanded back to custody until September 1. He was charged for 2 attempted murder. We spoke to Shongwe, who said that everything will be revealed when the matter is heard from court. He also apologized to the people who are still shocked by the incident. For Yemaswati channel, I'm Kerry Kalu's with Justice Lamini, Manzini.
The Mamba clan was summoned to Nganini today. The clan is divided following the fact that they disagree as to who should be the king and the leader of the clan. A full report follows.
The Mamba clan is saying that they are still not sure why they were called by the Nganini Council because the matter that they were supposedly called for was adjourned without any valid reason. The Mamba clan further said that they are not supposed to be called in by the Nganini Council because they are a fully recognized royalty.
Babite inkosikade ukuthi batayikhulumisa ngendzaba labayijuba. Siyamangala ke thina ukuthi bayikhuluma njani indzaba labayijuba. Nasibabuta ukuthi ngubani lona lobita bakamamba la eNganini bathi bona balibandla lengwenyama. Siyabuta sesithethulile thina ukuthi sibobani netigaba tethu tithini tethuleni phela nani bayatsatsalata sebayasicela ke bathi na asesibashayise ngemoya siphumele ngaphandle. Nasibuya ngaphandle batawuthi phenduka. Nasibuya ngaphandle but matter adjourned.
Angeke ke bonke sisawuthi siyabonga sibongela kubekelwa hlumela lesingaladi nekuthi italwa ngibani. Sine sihamba nebantu abenkosi Maja 2 basithupha abafana labashoye inkosi Maja 2. Lolo phakanyisiwe number 2 from the last born. Lobhekweni 2 bantu abamatsha baduna sine sathi indlovu itala lenye indlovu libhubesi itala elibhubesi asathi sine kati lobese utala imbongolo siqabuka nyalo kusha kumbeke indvo lensha naleyo asikwati sathi sine kusinkosi itala inkosi shifatale lomyeshifu leli hashi lelibese litala ibhasi asikwati lokho thina bonkosi siyabutabu. Inkosi Maja yashiya amafana labasithupha batane nenkosikade uLashonga lesiyibonile inkosikade le endushulweni yalosholwa sive sakamamba yagitsa ngetikhali letimbili letikhali letimbili symbolizes a certain very important part wawudla lo Lashonga lo inkosikade Lashonga lo muntu siyamangala yena sekuqhamuka basemafletini batoshiya sibange emakhosikazi namhla beta nemahlumela inkosi itala inkosi lihashi ngeke bese lihlala inkukhu akuyoze kwenteke lingawadlwetha inkukhu matsha liphune ngudzeni Nkosi.
For Yemaswati Channel, I'm Kerry Carlos with Justice Lamini Lobambam.
Nature ESWATINI, an organization which is all about educating Yemaswati about HIV and AIDS, met with editors and journalists today at the Hilton Garden Inn in Mbabane. The media practitioners were sensitized about the program that the organization is doing in ending HIV and AIDS in the kingdom. Nature ESWATINI, which is an organization that is all about fighting the spread of HIV and AIDS in the kingdom of Eswatini, today met with journalists and editors of different media houses of the kingdom at the Hilton Garden Inn in Mbabane. The objectives of the meeting was to review the evolution of HIV in the kingdom of Eswatini and further educate journalists about the ending AIDS mission. Speaking during the meeting, the director for Nature ESWATINI stated that last year, 2,500 people died of AIDS.
13 years back, about 2010 and even before, estimates. Estimates, they help you. And every time I'm being challenged about estimates, we say, where do you get these numbers? How do you know these people and so forth? This is a model, and Pega can talk about this model. This model has been tested. It's a mathematical model. It is used coming from the countries, so it's a satellite program. Like Baweda, I mean, you can't HIV positive in that given year. And then we model that. Nasik model estimate based on the population size. Population census said, so according to the population year too, these are the new infections. Let's say I would say the following year, there's another SHIMS and all these other studies, we validate this. And most of the time, the estimates that we come up close here, they are very, very close to the SHIMS. SHIMS can measure directly to validate the mathematical modeling in the center.
He stated that a lot of people died due to HIV and AIDS as compared to COVID-19, and that is why HIV and AIDS should be taken seriously in the kingdom. I am Zandile Mpapane for Channel Yemaswati News with Mkolis Mavuso, Mbabane. The Youth Revolving Fund Chief Executive Officer today revealed that the government spent 1.8 million in Malangeni as a number of youth showed interest in applying for the youth fund. He further stated that the number of people who applied for the fund is disappointing and stated that the fund will do a training whereby youth will be sensitized about how they can apply for the fund in the different constituencies of the kingdom.
Over 100 youth applied for the Youth Revolving Fund in the Cycle 7 of the Youth Fund. This was said by the Fund Chief Executive Officer Yemaswati. He stated that only 33 applications were a success. He said the workshop was then conducted for all those who were awarded the fund, which was conducted in 2 phases. Mazia said the numbers for young people who are applying for the fund are not convincing, and this has forced them to try some means of educating the youth about the fund and how they can apply for it.
Siyasamemetela ukuthi bangaphi abantu labathola ticelo kuyena lo cycle 7 lokho nje besibatraina ngema groups ticheme ngeticheme kulandzela ukuthi asisavumelana ukuhlanganisa abantu babe baningi endlini inye. So le group lengabe balishumi nesiphohlongo 18 le beyiphotfula kulesihlanu lophelile kule cycle yesikhombisa lesikhuluma ngayo. Sasimukela ticelo letingemakhulu lamabili nemashumi lasithathu nesihlanu 235. Lapho khona kubonakala ukuthi labaphumelele ticelo tawo tingamashumi lamathathu nesithathu 33 lekungibona baphumelele. Lo 18 wa last week nje bekuse kuyigroup yekugcina amongst the 33 labaphumelele. Imali seyiyonke nje lesababolekayo lesibaboleke yona kulesigaba sesikhombisa 1.8 million emalangeni kuleti ticelo tawo le uma khambe kahle emathuba emisebenzi latawo akheka nakuya ngaleti nombolo lebesitibuka angemashumi lasithupha nesihlanu 65 imisebenzi lesigaba kusiyakheke kulesigaba sesikhombisa. Sitawumemetela ke mavuso nasese
Mazia said the 33 young people who were able to get the fund were given 1.8 million in Malangeni, where they will then create an estimated of 65 jobs. I'm Kimberly Mavuso for Channel Yemaswati News with Zandile Mpapane in Mbabane.
There may be hope of further Ndlovu estate even after the demise of Mrs. Sipiwe Ndlovu. A full report follows.
The late Magas Ndlovu died last week and was buried yesterday in Pikes Peak. This is more than 20 years since the husband and businessman, Mr. Calvin Ndlovu, died. The millionaire Malangeni question now is what happens to his estate in a matter that has dragged in court for as long as anyone remembers. The country saw the Chief Justice just recently swearing in judges, and his main reason was a backlog of cases in court, which gives the country a sigh of relief that the Ndlovu estate debacle will be sorted before it gets complicated even further. In an interview with one legal practitioner who preferred anonymity, this is not a train smash. The law does cater for such occurrences under the Master's Office, and this was further corroborated by Phumzile Dfomo, the Master of the High Court, that indeed the law does cater for such and it will be dealt with according to law. The funeral of the late Siphiwe Ndlovu was indeed fitting for a woman of her stature, starting from the convoy of classy limousines that accompanied the hearse. The casket itself spoke volumes about the person.
Mbabane libandla le-Breath of Life limemetela inkonzo lenkulu yekuphilisa nekukhululwa kwalababoshiwe eCampus Crusade eceleni kwemakethe lemkhulu eMbabane ngemgcibelo mhla ka-4 September 2021 kusukela nga-1 emini kuya ku-3:30 nimenyiwe nonke kulomkhosi lomkhulu kangaka. Woda nawe utotibonela kusebenta kwaNkulunkulu emandleni amoya longcwele. Shaya kunati tinombolo lotibonako.
Renode Hire Services. Leave your refrigeration and freezer services, electrical installation and repairing of electrical systems. We repair and install electrical stoves, microwaves, refrigerators, and automotive air conditioners. We also do preventative maintenance. Find us in Manzini Fairview, Gatwala, next to Makolweni Complex, or call us on 7629-2742 or 7929-2742. Renode Hire Services.
Umprofeti Mechofi izwile Zulu metela inkonzo lengakaze ibe khona yekubuyisa kwetithunya emtimbeni wemuntu mhla ka-29 August ngensonto phatha 3 wemakhandlela abovu na 3 wemakhandlela amhlophe imihlaba sasekhaya kini yakagogo yekhabamake kutawukhenyiselwa tithunya abantu babambe imvumelelo yabo nebunjinga lobummangalisako. Umnikelo wenkonzo ngu-100 emalangeni kuphela phansi kwesihloko lesithi kude into nengalungiseki. Emva kwale nkonzo impilo yakho ngeke iphindze ifanane.
Summer is around the corner, but the summer sale at Mr. Cheap Fabric is already here. Half price on selected mahia. Half price on selected dress fabric. Selected curtain material was 75 malangeni per meter, now 50 malangeni per meter. Tizia, buy 1 at 180 malangeni and 2 for 280 malangeni. In Manzini, we're at Ngwane Street opposite Bunumor. In Babane, we're at Kwamile Street opposite Ritz Supermarket. We are celebrating 20 years of dressing the nation. Come celebrate with us.
Umtsu wehlahla temvelo awusentshethiswa kusukela ndulo kusita kwelaphatifo nekuhlala uphilile. I-Dubs Herbal Shop ithengisa lonke uhlobo lemithi yehlahla temvelo. Sekusikhathi lesithi solo Dubs athengisa le mithi lesita kwelapheni tifo letfaka ekhatsi, libhande, amajiji, sidliso, tifo telicansi, uhlungu besifazane mabaya emfuleni, tilonza esiswini, lokubuyisa imandla kubobabe, umhlume kanye naletinye letinyendi. Uma sozame konke wehluleka vakashela titolo tethu kaManzini eMbabane enhlangano kanye nasesimunyu tothola lusido. Kwati kabandi shayele ku 2505 4806 7602 6422 2505 2028 noma usithumelela umlayeto ku-email info@dubsgroup.com. Dubs Herbal Shop. Herbal is health. Herbal is life.
message from the National Disaster Management Agency and the Ministry of Health, which is funded by UNICEF. It is all about encouraging Yemaswati to adhere to COVID-19 regulations. Well, welcome back to our news edition. I am Zandile Mpapane. We shall continue with our news bulletin. Tabani Nkomonye's inquest continued today at the Matapa Correctional Services. A full report follows.
Today, when Tabani's inquest continued, Mr. David Houghton, who is a police CID, appeared before the coroner. Houghton explained about what happened on the day Nkomonye's body was found dead at Nhlambeni. Houghton stated that when they were still searching for the missing person, they heard a voice shouting, "How?" meaning Mfanami, loosely translated to "Oh my child," and further shouted, "The police have killed my child." Houghton explained that after they found the body, they then called Constable Malinzisa to come and take pictures. Houghton explained that while they were still at the scene area, the atmosphere was not good because relatives had many accusations saying that the police have killed Tabani. Advocate Tsotsi Mabila explained to Mabila that it is not true that he called Tabani's mother, but the mother called him first, of which Houghton stated it was not true. Advocate Tsotsi Mabila also asked Houghton why they had to go to the car dealership, yet they were not investigating a stolen car. Houghton explained this, that they had to do, hence they were searching for the driver of the car. Advocate Mabila also mentioned the reason the body was not found all the other days, it's because it was not there at the first place, or rather the search was not made. Advocate Tsotsi Mabila also mentioned that Houghton was reluctant to answer other questions because he was trying to cover up what the police did to Tabani. Mabila explained to Houghton that there is a statement that was written by Makanya that stated how he saw the car from when it veered off the road, and stated that the reason Houghton did not interrogate Makanya, it is because he did not want him to speak in case the truth comes out, or else Makanya was questioned, but the police decided to hide the evidence. Mabila mentioned that as an investigator, it is your duty to question everyone that might be involved, but in this case, it was not done. Houghton mentioned that was not true, but he asked that he does not speak about what he does not know. Advocate Mabila also mentioned that the reason Houghton was hiding evidence, it is because he was trying to protect the police, hence his employers will blame him for doing so. Reporting for Yemaswati channel, I am Nonhlanhla Twala.
As the COVID-19 vaccination program continues in the Kingdom of Eswatini, the government revealed that even public transport operators will not be left out. We spoke to the chairman of the association, Mr. Sihlangu Nhlabati, who expressed his appreciation to the government for including them in the vaccination process.
As the COVID-19 vaccination process continues in the Kingdom of Eswatini, the Eswatini government made sure that all people are vaccinated for COVID, including those who will be vaccinated for COVID-19 are people who are working in the transport sector. We conducted an interview with Mr. Sihlangu Nhlabati, who is the chairman of the Public Transport Association, who expressed his heartfelt gratitude to the government, as he stated that including them in the vaccination process shows indeed that the government is concerned about the well-being of Yemaswati. He encouraged all transport operators to make sure that they are vaccinated for COVID-19 as they work with different people in a daily basis.
Sicabanga ukuthi baka health basengasitsheli lokunye bazasitshela ukuthi na ujovile lizinga lakho lekugula alifanani nanokungakajova ngoba nginxusa necela nje emajayeni kithi ukuthi asihambeni siyojova sitokhona kusithi siyathi ukuthi akusho ukuthi nasujovile awusayifaki leyo mask awusasanitize ngoba cela naloko ukuthi namaphasi esijovile.
We then conducted an interview with different operators of the public transport sector who had different opinions about the vaccination. Some stated that they are grateful that they will be vaccinated, while others stated that they are frightened of being vaccinated as there are certain theories about the vaccination.
Because there is Sicabanga ukuthi nathi sitawusitakala kakhulu emsebenzini yalo mjovo.
Ngifike ekhaya ngigule ngibangwe netim nasengisithwa yini.
So wena ngamanye amagama uyawusaba lo mjovo?
Ngiyawusaba.
I am Zandile Mpapane for Channel Yemaswati News with Police Mavuso Ezulweni.
Following the fact that August is Women's Month internationally, today we spoke to Ms. Tegan Ward at Mbabane, who stated that she uses a lie detector test to detect if people are telling the truth. She stated that everything is possible as she's the only woman who specializes in that field in the Kingdom of ESWATINI. A full report follows.
As the rest of the world commemorates the Women's Month today, our reporters conducted an interview with Ms. Tegan Ward in Mbabane, who is a lie detector. Ward stated that she is the only woman who does lie detector testing in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Further stated that this was her dream since childhood. She mentioned that now there is an advanced way to detect if somebody is telling the truth. Further stating that she works with different companies and individuals.
Companies that I have worked with have actually worked with the police. It mostly helps the police in terms of sort of they've hit a dead end, if I can say that, and then I will be called in, I will do a few tests on who they think are involved, and I'll be able to then direct the police in the right direction or in a different direction to help them, and then they then continue on the investigation to actually get proper evidence and things like that against the person. I think you really do need a passion for the sort of environment. I mean, it's not something easy to get into or easy to deal with afterwards either. So I think if it's something that really interests you, you need to go for it and just don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I mean, for me, it was not something that my family necessarily wanted for me to go into. It wasn't really something that they agreed with me doing, but I made the decision and I went for it and ended up where I am today.
I am Zandile Mpapane for Channel Yemaswati News with Police Mavuso Mbabane.
Organizations which are all about the well-being of people in the kingdom has urged the justice system not to be lenient to abusers. A full report follows. Organizations which are all about the well-being.
Cases of not seeing eye to eye between lovers and married couples are in a rise nowadays. This often leads to domestic violence following an incident whereby a prominent pastor is said to have shot his wife due to a disagreement. Swaga organization, speaking through the director Nonhlanhla Dlamini, have voiced out a concern.
Siyadikhalela ke kuwo umthetho ngoba liqiniso leliphelele umfundisi lona lophathekako uyatiwa vele unedincwadi kanyenti nje avele emaphepheni asengakaqali nekuthatha uthatha umfati wekuqala nje naye uze uyahamba ngiyenza bayakuhlukubeteka kodwa nangingakubuta ukuthi uke waboshwa yini nangakanye akaze aze aboshwe so uyati nje ukuthi yena noma angakwenda vele utawuvele aphume angeke aze aboshwe so kusivisa buhlungu kakhulu vele sisebuhlungweni kakhulu enesiyathandaza ukuthi uNkulunkulu afana sendele umusa alulame lapho akhona khona ngoba siyathi ukuthi ngimake unebantwana unemndeni unebakubo naloko ukuthi ke kulokunye emaswatini ngaba nje ngiloku kucela negcizelela ukuthi uma ngabe kusho ukuthi kulomunye luthandwazi sekho uyathi kungcono lokuhlukana ngekuthula.
Following that, the pastor's wife had previously stated on Facebook that she was abused and one of his family members has turned their back on her. 1 Billion Rising organization through Xolani Hlatshago have also voiced a concern.
Umthetho ungabi nemehlo asingamboni umhlukubethu achubeka hamba ngaphandle ngokukhululeka. Kwesibili indzaba yokukhulumisa ema-families siyimindeni sinemsebenzi ekutheni ihlobo tethu nathi ihlukubetekile si create le wall yokuba protector noma lolubonza lokubavikela ekuhlukubetekeni asingatikhanzisa imindeni kube ngithi lese sibajajako noma sesiphinde sibahlukubeta ngendlela lesikhuluma ngayo lesikhanze ukuthi bativa bacinzetelekile.
I am Nonhlanhla reporting for Yemaswati channel in Manzini.
Well, that's all the news we had for tonight, but before ending tonight's bulletin, let's take a recap of the stories which made headlines. Sikhumbuzo Shongwe appeared today at the Manzini Magistrate Court after he is suspected to have shot his wife. The Mamba clan was summoned today at Nganini. There seems to be hope in the Ndlovu estate even after the demise of Mrs. Sipiwe Ndlovu. Well, that's all the news we had for tonight. Do have yourselves a beautiful evening. Good night.